Are you struggling with IELTS writing task 1, especially when it comes to tables? Don't worry, in this video I'll break down how to analyze, structure, and write a high-scoring response with simple tips and strategies. Stay tuned till the end for a sample answer that can boost your band score. A table in IELTS. Writing task 1 presents numerical data in a structured format, using rows and columns to organize information clearly. It often displays trends over different time periods, compares various categories such as countries, industries, or age groups, and highlights relationships between multiple variables. Your task is to analyze the data, identify key patterns, and summarize the most important details in a well-structured report. To achieve a high score, focus on comparing significant figures, describing trends effectively, and maintaining a clear, concise, and coherent response. In IELTS writing task 1, your goal is to summarize the given data, highlight the main features, and make meaningful comparisons without adding personal opinions. The task requires a minimum of 150 words and should be completed within 20 minutes, making time management crucial. To tackle this effectively, start by carefully analyzing the table, identifying key trends, highest and lowest values, and significant changes. Focus on what the data shows, rather than explaining why it happens. Your response should be clear, well-structured, and include appropriate comparisons to demonstrate a deep understanding of the information presented. To write a well-structured response for IELTS writing task 1, you need to follow a clear and logical format. Start with the introduction, where you paraphrase the question and briefly explain what the table represents. Avoid copying the prompt directly. Use synonyms and different sentence structures to rephrase it effectively. Next, include an overview, which is the most important part of your response. Here, summarize the main trends without mentioning specific numbers. Highlight key patterns such as overall increases, decreases, or notable differences between categories. Finally, move on to the body paragraphs, where you present detailed comparisons and specific data points to support your observations. Group similar trends together and use linking words to ensure a smooth flow. By following this structure, you can create a well-organized and high-scoring response that effectively conveys the key insights from the table. Using the right vocabulary in IELTS. Writing task 1 is essential for accurately describing trends and making comparisons. When reporting increases, you can use phrases like grew slightly or rose marginally for small changes, while a steady rise can be described as increased gradually or showed a consistent rise. If the numbers jump significantly, words like soared, surged, or witnessed a dramatic growth are more impactful. For decreases, minor drops can be expressed as fell slightly or declined marginally, whereas a steady downward trend can be described as dropped steadily or experienced a gradual fall. If the figures fall sharply, stronger terms like plummeted or dropped significantly are more appropriate. If the data remains unchanged, phrases like remained stable or stayed constant work well. However, if there are fluctuations, expressions like experienced ups and downs or showed variations can be used. When making comparisons, transition words like in contrast, while, and whereas help show differences. You can also highlight extremes with phrases like the highest, lowest percentage, or compare values using higher, lower than, and more, less than. Mastering these expressions will enhance the clarity and sophistication of your response, helping you achieve a higher band score. In IELTS. Writing task 1, the introduction should clearly present what the table represents while avoiding direct repetition of the question. To do this, use synonyms and rephrase the sentence structure effectively. Instead of saying, the table provides information on quality of life indicators in 5 countries, you can write, the table illustrates various quality of life measures, including life expectancy, literacy rate, GDP per capita, and employment rate across 5 nations. This maintains the original meaning while demonstrating a wider range of vocabulary. A well-paraphrased introduction sets the stage for the rest of your response by briefly describing what the table shows without giving specific details. It's important to keep it concise and clear, ensuring that the examiner immediately understands the focus of your report. By practicing rephrasing techniques, you can enhance your writing flexibility and improve your IELTS score. The overview is a crucial part of your IELTS writing task 1 response, as it provides a summary of the main trends without including specific figures. To craft an effective overview, start by identifying the highest and lowest values in the table and noting any clear relationships or patterns. For example, in this table, country A consistently ranks the highest across all quality of life indicators, while country E records the lowest figures. A general trend can also be observed. Countries with higher GDP per capita tend to have higher literacy and employment rates, as well as longer life expectancy. This suggests a strong correlation between economic prosperity and overall quality of life. When writing your overview, avoid listing exact numbers and instead focus on broad comparisons and key observations. A well-structured overview ensures your report is cohesive and logically organized, helping you achieve a higher band score. A strong body paragraph in IELTS writing. Task 1 should be well-structured, logically organized, and supported with relevant data. One effective way to do this is by grouping the highest and lowest values together and making clear comparisons. For example, country A consistently outperforms the others in all quality of life indicators, while country E ranks the lowest. A direct comparison helps illustrate these differences. Country A has the longest life expectancy at 78 years, whereas country E has the shortest at just 55 years. Similarly, literacy rates are significantly higher in country A, 95%, compared to only 65% in country E. Furthermore, GDP per capita in country A is $40,000, which is 8 times greater than that of country E, $5,000, reflecting a major economic gap between the two nations. This paragraph is effective because it logically groups data, includes key figures for clarity, and uses comparison words such as whereas, similarly, and significantly higher. These elements ensure a cohesive and well-developed response, helping you achieve a high band score. A well-structured body paragraph 2 builds on the previous discussion by exploring relationships, including middle-range countries, and maintaining varied sentence structures. This ensures a comprehensive and engaging response. One key observation in the table is that employment rates align with economic differences. For instance, country A has the highest employment rate at 85%, whereas country E has the lowest at just 50%. A clear relationship is evident. Countries with higher GDP per capita tend to have higher employment levels, suggesting stronger economies create more job opportunities. To present a complete analysis, it's also important to mention middle-range countries. Countries B and C show moderate figures with life expectancy at 72 and 68 years, while literacy rates range from 80% to 88%. However, country D stands out with significantly lower values across all indicators, reflecting poorer living conditions. This paragraph is effective because it connects economic indicators, provides a balanced overview of all countries, and uses varied sentence structures to avoid repetition. These elements contribute to a clear, well-developed, and high-scoring response. Using varied and precise vocabulary is essential for crafting a high-scoring IELTS writing task. 1 response. The right phrases help convey comparisons, trends, and relationships clearly and effectively. When making comparisons, words like higher than, lower than, and whereas can enhance clarity. For instance, instead of simply stating values, you can write, country A has a higher life expectancy than country E, or the literacy rate in country D is lower than in country B. Similarly, contrast words like by contrast help highlight stark differences. For example, by contrast, country E has the lowest GDP per capita and employment rate. To describe trends, phrases like a significant difference and a slight variation help provide depth. For example, there is a significant gap between the GDP per capita of country A and country E, emphasizes the disparity, while there is only a slight difference in literacy rates between country B and C, presents a minor contrast. Additionally, pointing out relationships between indicators can strengthen your analysis. Using a direct relationship can be observed between literacy rate and employment, shows how different factors are interconnected. By incorporating these useful phrases, you can make your response more coherent, structured, and sophisticated, which will ultimately help you achieve a higher band score. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more IELTS tips to boost your score.